What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since '03 and eager to see this team getting back to playing winning basketball. In today's video, we will be doing a season preview for undrafted two-way Pistons guard Daniss Jenkins. On this channel, we have been and will continue to do season previews for each individual on the Detroit Pistons roster. In these videos, we typically go over a little bit about where they were last season, and then go over 3 strengths to expect from the individual from the upcoming year, 1 weakness, a swing skill, and then predict where they'll be at in the rotation. We started with the youngest player on the roster, and we're working our way up to the oldest, and today we are landing on Daniss Jenkins, and we'll get straight into it by talking about his previous season. So, Daniss Jenkins was a 4-year college player. He spent his first 2 years of college with Pacific before transferring to Ionia and then transferring to St. John's. At St. John's, where he spent his senior year, he averaged 15 points per game to go along with 3.5 boards, 5.5 assists, while shooting 44% from the floor and 35% from 3. He played in 33 games, played about 30 minutes a night, and overall was a pretty decent senior year for Daniss Jenkins. So after that, he went into the NBA draft, declared for the draft. He went undrafted, which was a bit of a surprise because he was on the back end of a lot of mock drafts and draft boards that you saw from certain people that were releasing during that time. It wasn't completely shocking, but it's not like this guy had no chance of getting drafted. He just didn't. So straight away, I think the day after the draft, or maybe even right after the draft, the Pistons got him signed onto a two-way straight away. So locked him down relatively quick after he went undrafted. So now he's coming into the NBA on a two-way contract. If you guys don't know, for whatever reason, what a two-way contract is, that means that he will be able to spend some time with the Motor City Cruise, the Detroit Pistons G League affiliate, and some time with the main roster. Some of the guys on the team last year that were in that role were Stanley Amude, Buddy Boeheim, etc. So to talk a little bit about Danniss's game, to be very transparent, I'm not an expert on his game at all. Almost every other review that we've done, I feel more confident talking about their game, and just want to get that out there before we start to get into this. My experience with Daniss Jenkins is reading scouting reports, watching YouTube highlights from his days at St. John's, and then I did watch every game he played in the Summer League, which does give me enough vision to talk about this pretty comfortably. So, his 3 strengths to go over. Number 1, he is a pretty decent shooter. During his time in college, he started off his college career as a shaky shooter at best. His three-point percentage by year in college went from 24 to 23 and then up to 36 and 36 again, while increasing the volume every year. So his three-point percentage has gone up every single year during his time in college, along with his volume. Right now, I think his shot looks pretty good. Of course, watching the Summer League, there was that one game where he got very hot. His mechanics looked great. The ball was finding the bottom of the net easily. Overall, looks like there's quite a bit of consistency at this stage with the jump shot and an ability to heat up at a moment's notice and start to make some difficult shots, go on a little bit of a run. So the second strength I want to go over is his positional size. He is listed at 6'3" on Basketball Reference, but just from using my actual eyes watching him at the Summer League, he looks pretty big on the floor. He looks long, he looks tall, he looks athletic. Overall, for a guard, he has good size. Now, he was playing with Marcus Sasser a lot of times during the Summer League when he was on the floor, and he is much bigger than Marcus Sasser. I can guarantee you that. I know that's not saying a bunch because Marcus Sasser himself is undersized for NBA level of play, but Daniss Jenkins does have good positional size, especially if you're considering that he might be playing the point guard position. Listed at 6'3", but I'm going to guess that's like a barefoot measurement because he looks more like an NBA 6'4". So a third strength I want to go about is his off-the-dribble scoring / shot creation. We saw this on display during his time in the Summer League. He doesn't need to be set up or anything like that to get a shot. He doesn't even need a screen sometimes. A few times he was just able to break people down off the dribble and find a shot, whether that be a pull-up mid-range or a pull-up three-pointer. I didn't see a whole bunch of him taking it to the hoop, but there was a few buckets in transition. Overall, he's the type of guy where he can create his own shot, and there's really no doubt about that. So one weakness to expect is going to be his playmaking. Now, this will kind of lead into the swing skill, but when I was reading through all of the scouting reports from trusted NBA scouting websites before the draft, a lot of the stuff talked about, he can potentially be a bit too focused on scoring the ball on offense, can be a little bit too ball dominant, things like that. So I don't think as of right now, Daniss Jenkins is going to be a true blue table setter point guard that's going to come down the floor when he does get his opportunities with the Pistons this year and just set other people up and not take too many shots. I don't think that's really his game as of right now, but I do think that that could be something that he could improve on, which would help him get a role on this team further in the future. And that leads us into the swing skill. And this one's a little bit different than most of the other swing skills I've talked about for players on this channel because it's less of a skill and it's more of just him finding his role as a 1 or a 2 and exactly who he is as an NBA player. Because as of right now, if he's playing the 1, cool. He's a great big point guard that can score the ball, but he doesn't really have the playmaking ability to do it. But if he's playing the 2, now he's not exactly big for his position, not extremely athletic for an NBA 2, especially when you're comparing him against guys that he might be going against, like Jalen Brown, or who knows who he could be going up against in the NBA as a shooting guard, right? So I think realistically his swing skill is just going to be finding his role to see exactly what he is in the NBA. Is he a Jordan Clarkson type of player, or can he kind of get a little bit more type of playmaking in and kind of become more of a Derek White type of player? These are different comparisons that I've heard of him, throughout the past couple months when he was at the Summer League and all of that. I think that's all it's really going to come down to. Because if he's just the tweener that can't really carve out either of those roles, it's going to be really hard for him to ever crack the rotation. But if he can nail that down and become more of a, trusted point guard, then maybe those Derek White comps a few people are throwing out there might be accurate. If he can really turn it up a notch and keep improving on scoring the ball at will as a shot creator, maybe a few of those Jordan Clarkson comparisons that I heard thrown out there during the Summer League might become accurate. But either way, he's just going to have to find his role. And to predict where he'll be at in the rotation, I mean, it's just realistic. He's a two-way player. I don't expect him to play more than 300 minutes at tops throughout the entirety of the year up until the All-Star break. Post All-Star break, it's just going to depend if the Pistons are where we hope they are and they're fighting to win their 30th game of the season, or if they decide to get into the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. So it's really team dependent. He's a two-way player. I hope that he balls out regardless, whether it's with Motor City Cruise or the Detroit Pistons in short stints. I actually really, really like this dude as a two-way player. I think that he's by far better than probably any other two-way player that we have ever had. No shade to any of those guys, but I think that there's a real world where Daniss Jenkins develops into an NBA caliber player, and I couldn't say that about a lot of the other two-way players we've had over the years. So let me know what you guys think about Daniss Jenkins. I like his game, just trying to be realistic about it. He's a two-way guy, so just got to be real. I'll catch up with y'all soon.